The distress call arrived without warning, one fractured transmission, overcompressed and trembling with static. A burning corridor filled the screen, metal beams sagging like dying limbs. Figures stumbled through smoke, their silhouettes warped by heat. Then came the line that froze every council member in the hall. Humans attacked us. The message cut off mid-scream. Silence swept across the Concord chamber. Representatives from 58 species stared at the looping footage as though watching a prophecy fulfilled. Some recoiled, others whispered in frantic bursts. Humans had barely joined the galactic stage, and already their reputation as deathwelders shadowed them like a curse. At the far end of the chamber, a single hologram flickered to life, a woman standing with military posture, arms locked behind her back. Commander Rhea Varen, Earth Special Response Division, spoke before anyone could erupt into accusations. Earth received the distress call as well. My team is mobilized and prepared to assist. Her calm tone only stirred more agitation. The Sailari ambassador hissed. Assist. The footage clearly shows your kind slaughtering a colony. Rhea replayed the clip in her lens. Even in low resolution, the shapes resembled tall armored forms, broad shoulders, heavy gait, aggressive posture. Someone had designed them to mimic humans at a glance. We weren't in that region, she replied. No human vessel has traveled near Cryos 9 in the last 6 months. The hall erupted. Shouts, accusations, calls for immediate sanctions, all of it collided into a single storm of fear. Rhea waited, silent, until the Concord moderator struck her gavel. Commander Varen, the moderator said, voice trembling, the Concord authorizes a conditional investigation. You will proceed to Cryos 9 under escort. Any deviation from protocol will result in termination of the mission. Understood. Her hologram vanished, leaving the delegates to argue over consequences that hadn't even unfolded yet. Earth strike vessel Aquila dropped out of warp near Cryos 9. From orbit, the colony looked like a dying ember, smoke curling upward, lights extinguished, the surface faintly pulsing with residual heat signatures. Rhea stood at the bridge viewport, studying the scars gouged across the terrain. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Juno Hale, joined her. Sensors show no active human signatures. Not that I expected any. They wouldn't believe us even if we broadcast the entire sensor log, Rhea said. Fear is easier to rely on than evidence. The comm system pinged. Concord escorts, 4 sleek silver frigates, materialized around the Aquila. The lead vessel projected a sharp-toned message. Human vessel, maintain vector and speed. You are not to deploy armed personnel without our clearance. Rhea answered without turning. Noted. Juno muttered, they invited us to help, then chained us before we arrived. They didn't invite us, Rhea corrected. They cornered themselves into compliance. That's different. Dropships launched minutes later. The descent through Cryos 9's atmosphere was turbulent. The air carried ash thick enough to smear across the windscreens. The colony came into view, a maze of shattered buildings and scorched walkways. Emergency beacons blinked sporadically, drowned by smoke. Rhea stepped off the ramp first. Heat radiated from the ground, distorting the air. The smell of melted polymer and burnt alloy clung to everything. Her visor scanned for life signs, faint clusters pulsed beneath rubble. Search pattern Gamma, she ordered. No sudden movements. Survivors are likely terrified out of their minds. As her team spread out, a metallic clatter echoed from a collapsed service tunnel. A Zelthi miner crawled out, trembling, eyes wide with panic when he saw the humans. Stay back, he shouted, stumbling. You came to finish us. Rhea knelt slowly, lowering her weapon. Her voice softened. We came because your colony called for help. The Zelthi pointed a shaking finger toward the ruins. We saw them, tall figures, armored, glowing visors. They tore through our workers. They looked human. Did you see their faces? Rhea asked. No. Smoke, light, they moved like machines. Machines designed to resemble humans, Rhea thought. Too similar to be coincidence. She scanned the ground beside him. Deep footprints dented the metal flooring, heavy, symmetrical, no heel strike variation. Human soldiers left uneven pressure patterns due to adaptive exosuits. These prints were uniform, manufactured. Juno approached with a datapad. "Commander, look at this." She displayed a fragment of alloy recovered from a structural support beam. Molecular bonding pattern doesn't match any human-grade weapon. Impact energy is too stable, too precise. Engineered to look brutal, Rhea murmured. Not human work. Before she could continue, Concord troops marched in, a squad of insectoid Kalthari soldiers in polished armor. Their commander eyed Rhea with visible disdain. "You will confine your investigation to designated sectors," he said. "We will handle civilian extraction." Rhea rose slowly. "A sector limit will obstruct analysis. You requested our expertise for a reason." The Kalthari clicked irritably. "We requested your containment. Investigation is secondary." Juno whispered, "They're not even trying to hide their distrust." Rhea motioned her silent. "We will remain within the perimeter you choose," she said, "but we will finish this mission." As the Kalthari left, Juno asked, "Why agree?" "Because fighting them would fulfill the purists' narrative," Rhea said. "Someone crafted this attack with political intent. They want to provoke a reaction." She turned to her team. "We gather evidence quietly. No confrontations. No assumptions. Every detail matters." They moved deeper into the colony. Burn patterns climbed walls at unnatural angles. Machinery lay dissected with surgical precision. Wounds on the fallen workers were inconsistent, some crushed, others pierced, none following human combat patterns. Rhea paused beside a collapsed mining drill. Thin slivers of metallic residue coated the surface, still faintly warm. "Commander," Juno said, crouching beside another corpse, "whoever did this wanted chaos, not efficiency." "Chaos that resembles human aggression," Rhea replied, running her gloved fingers across the residue. "Someone wants the galaxy to believe we've unleashed warriors without restraint." A distant crash echoed through the ruins, sharp, deliberate. Rhea signaled her team behind cover. Shadows shifted near a ventilation shaft. Something tall moved through the haze, metal joints grinding softly. The figure paused, half visible, its outline resembling a human soldier in heavy armor, broad chest, helmeted head, reinforced limbs. But its movement lacked organic variance. Too balanced. Too controlled. A mimic. It disappeared into the smoke. Juno exhaled. "Commander, was that?" "Yes," Rhea said, eyes narrowing. "And now we know the truth." She looked back at the burning structures. The scent of deception hung thicker than the ash. "Someone built copies of us," she whispered. "And they used them to start a war." She straightened, gaze hardening. "Spread the word through secure channels. The Real investigation begins now." The fires on Cryos 9 dimmed as night settled over the colony, but the ash hung motionless like a curtain concealing unwelcome truths. Commander Rhea Varen moved through the twisted metal corridors with deliberate steps, visor scanning every ruin. The earlier encounter with the mimic figure replayed in her thoughts, not as fear, but as confirmation. Whoever engineered that soldier made no attempt at subtlety. They wanted resemblance, not authenticity. They wanted a spectacle that aligned with the galaxy's worst assumptions about humans. Juno Hale walked beside her, holding a forensic kit. "Commander, I isolated tissue fragments from the collapsed turbine hall. They aren't organic." Rhea paused. "Synthetic fibers?" "Partially. There's a biological layer, but the genetic sequence is stitched. Threads of various species." "Cross-species splicing?" Rhea asked. Juno nodded. "Someone built a body that could pass visually as human, but its internal structure is a hybrid construct." Rhea examined the sample. The layered composition reminded her of old Earth prototypes, failed attempts at artificial muscle that never replicated human nuance. The material here looked crude but effective, as though made for durability, not precision. "They didn't need perfect anatomy," Rhea said. "They needed something that looked human at a distance." A faint commotion echoed from a damaged shelter ahead. Her team lifted their weapons instinctively. Rhea raised a hand to keep them steady. Inside, a small group of survivors huddled beneath a collapsed section of roof. When they saw the humans, terror surged across their faces. A Zelphi elder pointed accusingly. "You brought war to us," he cried. "Why return? Leave us to bury our dead." Rhea removed her helmet and knelt, exposing her face, calm, sharp, resolute. "We're here to uncover who attacked your colony. My people weren't involved." The elder shook his head. "They looked like you. Same height. Same noise in the metal they wore. Weapons that scorched like yours." "Scorches can be replicated," Rhea said. "Did you hear them speak?" "No. They made no sound. They moved like predators. That silence is exactly why they weren't us." A younger survivor stepped forward. "If not humans, then who?" "That's what I intend to find out," Rhea responded. Her words weren't gentle, they were measured. She spoke with the weight of someone who recognized that trust wouldn't come easily. Juno approached with another datapad. "Commander, I analyzed heat patterns around the mining shaft. The attackers used energy signatures consistent with Concord-grade tactical units." Rhea frowned. "You're certain?" "Positive. Tripulsed discharge marks. Concord tech." The elder gasped. "Why would the Concord attack us?" "They wouldn't," Rhea said. "But someone within the Concord might." The tent shuddered as a heavy blast shook the ground. Dust rained from the broken ceiling. Rhea spun around, eyes narrowing. "Secure the survivors," she ordered. "Team 2, regroup on my signal." They moved quickly through the debris. Another explosion rattled the metal beams. This one came from the engineering district. Rhea and Juno sprinted toward the source. Smoke curled around crumbling structures as they arrived at a shattered walkway. Concord escort troops, who were supposed to be assisting rescue operations, were engaged in a skirmish. Not with colonists. Not with scavengers. With Rhea's team. "Hold fire," Rhea shouted. But the escort soldiers pressed their advance, weapons aimed with lethal intent. Their commander, the same Kalthari officer from earlier, stood behind them, face twisted with accusation. "You wander outside the approved perimeter," he said. "You disobeyed protocol." Rhea raised her voice. "My team found evidence contradicting your assumptions. Step aside." "No. You tamper with the crime scene. You hide guilt behind fabricated analysis." Juno whispered, "He's not here to argue. He's here to eliminate us." The escort commander gestured sharply. "Open fire." The first volley streaked across the walkway. Rhea grabbed Juno and Dove behind a collapsed beam. Sparks burst across their armor. Rhea activated her comms. "Team 1, defensive positions. No casualties. Disarm only." A human operative named Merrick responded, "Understood. We're pinned near the West Ridge." "Hold," Rhea said. "We end this without escalation." Juno peeked from cover. "If we don't retaliate, they'll force us back toward the unstable reactor grids." "That's why we're going forward," Rhea said. She sprinted toward the nearest Kalthari soldier before Juno could protest. In one fluid motion, she sidestepped a plasma bolt, seized the attacker's weapon, and drove her knee into his chest plate. The soldier collapsed, breath knocked out. Another aimed at her. Rhea twisted, letting the shot pass through her shadow, and struck his wrist, forcing him to drop the weapon without breaking bone. The Kalthari commander watched, stunned by the efficiency. "You prove your brutality again," he snarled. "No," Rhea said. "I'm proving you're wrong." Behind her, Rhea's team subdued the remaining attackers with controlled precision. Not a single Concord soldier was seriously harmed. The commander glared at her. "Why spare us?" "Because you're not the enemy," Rhea answered. "Someone manipulated you. Someone wants us at war." A shrill beep echoed from Juno's datapad. She stepped closer. "Commander," she said, lowering her voice, "I cracked the encrypted signal we intercepted earlier. It's not colony communications. It's internal Concord chatter." Rhea examined the data. Buried beneath time-stamped distortions was a signature, sharp, unmistakable. "Null Zurath." His voice filtered through static. "Stage 2 complete. Ensure the humans respond with force. Fear must take root. Juno swallowed hard. He orchestrated the entire attack. Rhea's expression hardened. He intends to push the Concord into sanctioning Earth's eradication. The Kalthari commander staggered. This cannot be. Nol-Zurath is a respected council figure. Respect doesn't guarantee truth, Rhea said. She transmitted the encrypted file to her team. Back up everything. Make redundant copies. Hide them off-world if possible. Juno asked, "What now?" "We track where the signal originated," Rhea replied. "Every lie starts at a source." A ripple of energy pulsed beneath the ground, a hidden generator powering up. Rhea's visor detected movement beyond the refinery ruins. Metallic footsteps echoed 5, then 10, then more. Mimic soldiers emerged from the haze. Human-shaped. Synthetic muscle beneath armored plating. Visors glowing with cold light. Juno whispered, "He's sending them to erase evidence." Rhea steadied her weapon. "Then we make sure the galaxy sees what he built." The mimics advanced, silent as their designers intended. Rhea looked at her regrouped team, then at the frightened Concord commander, now realizing his role in a conspiracy larger than he imagined. "Stay behind us," Rhea said quietly. "This is our fight now." The shadows of the mimic soldiers closed in, their steps synchronized, their intent unmistakable. Rhea tightened her grip. Time to expose the truth. The refinery ruins trembled as the mimic soldiers advanced, silent, synchronized, deliberate. Their movements had none of the natural pause or micro-adjustments of living fighters. These constructs marched with mechanical intent, glowing visors sweeping across the debris in perfect arcs. The survivors nearby froze, even the Kalthari escort commander stood speechless. Rhea Varen stepped forward, weapon raised but steady. No sudden engagement. They'll charge if they register a threat silhouette. Juno crouched beside her. They're triangulating on us. They're not reacting to survivors. Only to humans. Exactly, Rhea said. They aren't here to exterminate the colony. They're here to silence us. The lead mimic halted. Its visor flickered, a pulse of light forming a scanning pattern. Rhea recognized the tactic. Similar systems were used in early Terran assault drones before they were outlawed. Whoever designed this machine understood humans well enough to imitate their old war doctrines. Rhea whispered, "On my mark, break formation and scatter into narrow cover lines. They can't adapt to unpredictable movement." Juno signaled the team. 3, 2, 1, move. The humans split into 3 directions. The mimics hesitated for half a second, barely noticeable, but enough. Machine logic recalibrated, their formation fracturing as they pursued. Rhea sprinted across a collapsed pipeline and dropped into a shattered maintenance pit. Sparks crackled overhead as the constructs fired plasma bolts in tight, calculated patterns. She tapped her comms. "Team 1, pull them toward the ventilation sector. Narrow corridors disrupt their line of sight." Merrick's voice replied. "Copy." Luring them in. Rhea scanned the ground. Beneath her boots, the metal vibrated with a faint hum, an active power conduit running deeper into the colony. The signal from Nol-Zuratha's transmission originated below surface level. That meant his operation wasn't limited to mimic soldiers, an entire facility powered them. Juno slid into the pit beside her. "Commander, a secondary energy source is spiking underground. Intentional activation. Someone's turning on the next phase," Rhea said. "We track it." A mimic dropped into the pit with them. It landed heavily, metal limbs absorbing the impact without recoil. Its visor locked onto Rhea. Juno raised her weapon, but Rhea grabbed her wrist. "Don't fire. Overcharged shot will collapse the pit." The mimic lunged. Rhea sidestepped, grabbed the machine's arm, and used its forward momentum to slam it against the support column. The soldier's limbs whirred, recalibrating instantly. It swung back with precision, but Rhea anticipated the arc and struck the joint cluster behind its shoulder. The limb malfunctioned, locking into a rigid angle. Sparks spilled out. Juno caught her breath. "How did you?" "Old Terran prototypes," Rhea said. "They all had a blind point." Whoever built these never corrected it. With its arm disabled, the mimic attempted to self-destruct. Rhea reacted instantly, ripping out the control core before it ignited. She turned to Juno. Get a detailed scan. Its internal components will lead us straight to the source. Above them, Merrick's team reduced 2 mimic units to scrap using electromagnetic pulses, non-lethal to organic beings but crippling to synthetic organisms. We've bought a minute, Merrick said. No more. Rhea climbed out of the pit. That's enough. We found the link. She followed the power readings toward a partially collapsed mining lift. The ground around it bore fresh impact patterns, too uniform for mining equipment. A concealed access hatch protruded from beneath a layer of scorched metal. Rhea brushed the debris aside. This door hasn't been here long. Juno ran a scan. Installation date, less than a month ago. Then our enemy built his staging ground right beneath the colony's feet. With combined strength, they forced the hatch open. A cold gust rose from the shaft below, carrying faint mechanical vibrations and the smell of sterilized metal. Rhea nodded to the team. Descending. The lift cables groaned as they descended into darkness. Emergency lights flickered along the cylindrical shaft, revealing layer after layer of unregistered construction. They passed abandoned mining levels, each one stripped of equipment. A mile below the surface, the lift stopped abruptly at a sealed blast door glowing with a dim red warning strip. Merrick approached. Looks military. No Concorde insignia, Rhea noted. This is Black Sector fabrication. She pressed the override panel. Surprisingly, the door slid open without resistance, as though someone wanted her to enter. Inside, the temperature dropped sharply. The chamber was enormous, metal platforms arranged in concentric circles around a central processor tower. Rows of humanoid constructs hung from suspension racks, their bodies incomplete but recognizable. Synthetic muscle strands twitched faintly as power cycled through them. Juno whispered, an entire production line. Not just soldiers, batches of mimic units in various stages of construction, some already human-shaped, others skeletal frames. Their faces were blank ceramic shells waiting for detail. Tools hovered on drone arms, carving or welding with clinical precision. A voice echoed through the chamber, smooth, calm, familiar. You found it sooner than expected. Nolzurath appeared on the walkway above them, hands clasped behind his back. His expression was serene, as though giving a lecture. Rhea stepped forward. You murdered a colony to stage a political coup. He tilted his head. Murder? No. Sacrifice. Tragic, yes, but required to unify the Concorde. Unify against us, Rhea said. Your species is unpredictable, dangerous. The Concorde fears conflict because you transformed war into an art. I simply accelerated what was inevitable. He gestured to the mimic frames. Once these units deployed across several colonies, humanity would appear uncontrollable. The galaxy would demand your containment or elimination. Juno tightened her grip on her weapon. You created these abominations to frame us. I created balance, Nolzurath answered. Fear binds civilizations. And humans, oh, what perfect catalysts you are. Rhea held his gaze. Fear built on lies collapses. As will your plan. Nolzurath smiled faintly. Not if you die here. The lights dimmed. Mimic units detached from their racks, landing on the platforms with metallic resonance. Their visors ignited. Rhea raised her weapon. Merrick, suppressive EMPs. Juno, reroute the broadcast relay. We expose this now. Juno nodded and sprinted toward the central tower. Mimics swarmed the platforms. Rhea fired short controlled bursts, disabling joints rather than obliterating bodies. Merrick's EMP grenades arced through the air, collapsing several constructs into lifeless heaps. Juno reached the tower console and connected her transmitter. Commander, I'm accessing Concorde satellite channels. If I break through, the entire network will see this facility. Rhea blocked a mimic strike and countered with a snap kick that shattered its stabilizer. Do it. Nolzurath watched from above, unfazed. Even if you send proof, fear is already seeded. They will not trust you. Juno's fingers flew across the interface. Uploading. Just a few seconds. A blast shook the chamber. The tower's side ruptured, sparks raining down. Norzurath had triggered an overload, trying to destroy the evidence. "Commander," Juno yelled. "If I don't redirect the surge, the whole facility will collapse." "Send the broadcast," Rhea said. "We finish this now." Juno bypassed the final lock. A sharp beep confirmed transmission. Merrick grinned. "They're seeing everything." Norzurath's smile finally faltered. Rhea climbed the staircase toward him, each step deliberate. The facility trembled as energy conduits ruptured. "You wanted the galaxy to fear us," she said. "Now they'll fear the truth instead." Norzurath drew a concealed weapon, but Rhea struck first, disarming him with a swift pivot. He stumbled back, stunned by her speed. The chamber groaned as power fluctuations tore through the structure. Rhea turned to her team. "Extraction route Delta. Move." With the broadcast complete and the mimic factory failing, she descended the stairs, guiding her team toward the lift as the underground complex collapsed behind them. The galaxy had just seen the truth, live, undeniable, irreversible. And Norzurath's war was about to unravel. The lift rocketed upward as the mimic factory collapsed beneath the colony. Metal screamed from deep below, each tremor echoing through the shaft like the roar of a wounded beast. Rhea Varen stood at the center of her team, watching the shaking walls with controlled breath. The broadcast had gone through, Juno confirmed it, but they had no idea how the galaxy would react. "Structural integrity dropping fast," Merrick warned. Dust rained from the ceiling. "If the lift jams, we'll have to climb." Rhea steadied herself. "We get out. No alternative." The chamber shook again, stronger this time. Juno grabbed the rail to avoid stumbling. "Commander, Concord ships are repositioning in orbit." They received the footage. "Good," Rhea said. "That means the narrative just shifted." When the lift finally reached the upper platform, they rushed out as the shaft collapsed behind them. The access hatch caved inward, sealing the hidden facility forever under tons of rubble. Smoke rose through the cracks, drifting into the night. Rhea surveyed the ruins. "We regroup at the extraction ridge. Our communications will be flooded. Brace for incoming transmissions." They moved swiftly across the scorched clearing, passing shattered buildings and scattered embers. Survivors stared at them with a different gaze now, not suspicion, not terror, but hesitant understanding. The truth had reached them too. As they climbed the final slope, the sky ignited with streaks of light. Concord warships entered the atmosphere, massive silhouettes descending like judgment itself. Rhea slowed, lifting her visor. Juno tightened her grip on her rifle. "They're not firing. They're forming a perimeter." Merrick exhaled. "That's new." A projection flared above the colony, a hologram broadcast from the Concord flagship. Delegates from multiple species appeared, their expressions grim and unsettled. At the center stood the moderator. "Commander Rhea Varen," the moderator announced, voice amplified, "your broadcast has been verified. Norzurath's machinations have come to light. The Concord recognizes your efforts in exposing the truth." Rhea faced the projection. "Then acknowledge the colony's innocence, and my team's." "We do," the moderator said. "The false accusations have been withdrawn." The Kalthari escort commander approached from behind Rhea, armor scorched and dented. His earlier hostility had vanished, replaced by a solemn resignation. He lowered his head. "I doubted you," he said quietly. "You saved my soldiers even when they attacked you." Rhea nodded once. "You followed what you believed to be orders. That belief was exploited." The moderator continued, "Norzurath is detained aboard our vessel. His conspiracy is larger than anticipated. Additional evidence from your broadcast has linked him to multiple covert operations." A pause. "He will face trial under Concord law." Rhea's jaw tightened. His actions caused the deaths of innocents. The verdict must reflect that truth. "It will," the moderator assured. More ships descended, dropping emergency teams, medics, and engineers. For the first time since their arrival, Concord personnel moved alongside humans without fear or suspicion. Juno whispered, feels strange. What does? Merrick asked. Not being blamed for everything. Rhea almost allowed herself a faint smile. Almost. Hours later, temporary shelters dotted the hillside. Medics tended to injured colonists while technicians extracted data cores from the ruins. Rhea stood beside a makeshift comm station, reviewing updates from the Aquila. Commander, Juno said, handing her a datapad, the galaxy responded to the broadcast. Public channels are filled with shock. Many didn't believe humans were capable of restraint. We showed them evidence, Rhea replied. Nothing more. Nothing less. Juno hesitated. Still, your name is trending across Concord networks. They're calling you the Death Welder who refused to kill. Rhea's gaze drifted toward the horizon. Let them call me whatever they need. What matters is the outcome. Before Juno could reply, a Concord envoy approached, carrying a sealed diplomatic case. He bowed respectfully. Commander Varen, the Council requested this be delivered to you personally. Rhea opened the case. Inside lay a crystalline sphere, an encoded diplomatic token used only for high-level negotiations. What is this? Juno asked. A gesture, Rhea said, reading the accompanying message. A request for formal discussions between Earth and the Concord regarding full membership protocols. Merrick blinked. They want us, in? Juno whispered, after everything? That's a dramatic shift. The envoy nodded. Your actions today proved that humanity values truth over conflict. Certain members of the Council wish to revise their evaluation. Rhea closed the case. Earth will review the invitation. The envoy bowed again and departed. Merrick exhaled, overwhelmed. Commander, this changes everything. It changes perception, Rhea said. Which is where truth begins. As dawn broke across Cryos 9, the colony felt different, still wounded, still grieving, but no longer suffocating under fear's shadow. Teams worked together, humans and aliens alike, clearing rubble and recovering survivors. Rhea walked toward the remains of the central square. Juno joined her. You're quiet, Juno said gently. Assessing, Rhea replied. Assessing what? What happens after revelations settle? Fear doesn't vanish because truth appears. It only pauses. Juno watched her carefully. Do you think the Concord will trust us? Trust must be proven repeatedly, Rhea said. We just provided the first proof. A soft beep came from Juno's wrist comm commander, incoming transmission from the Aquila. Rhea tapped her own unit. Varen speaking. Commander, the voice of Captain Idris came through. Concord enforcement ships have escorted Nol Zurath into containment. He is demanding a private statement with you. Rhea considered the request. Put him through. A distorted hologram flickered before her, Nol Zurath restrained in an energy cell, still composed despite defeat. Commander, he said, tone chillingly calm, you believe you've preserved peace by exposing me. I didn't preserve peace, Rhea said. I exposed deception. Nol Zurath tilted his head. You misunderstand. Fear of your species shaped this galaxy long before I intervened. Even now, many will question your motives. They saw your strength today, your precision. And they will wonder when that power turns on them. They'll learn who we are through our actions, Rhea said firmly. Nol Zuratha's expression sharpened. Or they will learn fear again. Rhea cut the transmission. Juno frowned. He's trying to unsettle you. He's revealing the next challenge, Rhea said. Concord unity isn't guaranteed. We must continue proving that humanity's strength serves stability, not dominance. Merrick approached from the square. Commander, survivors want to thank you in person. Rhea looked toward the colonists gathering near a broken fountain, faces still weary, but eyes hopeful. She walked toward them. The Zelthai elder who once accused her stepped forward, bowing his head. We owe you our lives, he said quietly. We owe you the truth we couldn't see. Rhea placed a hand over her heart, a Terran gesture of respect. You owe nothing. We answered your call because no world should suffer this. The elder met her gaze. You are feared across the stars, yet today you chose restraint when others demanded retaliation. That choice saved us. Rhea answered softly, Humanity is dangerous only when danger threatens the innocent. He nodded. May that truth spread. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows over the recovering colony, Rhea joined her team on the ridge overlooking Cryos 9. Merrick asked, "So what now?" Rhea looked toward the horizon, toward the faint shimmer of ships preparing for departure. "Now," she said, "we go home. We report everything. And we prepare for the future, whatever form it takes." Juno smiled faintly. "And if someone sends another SOS?" Rhea's eyes hardened with purpose. "We answer. Always."